Ethan heard his mom head into the kitchen, and he immediately followed. "Mom, let me help you with something," he offered. Ivy smiled warmly. "My sweet boy. Here, make some sandwiches while I quickly fry the potatoes and chop the salad." Ethan loved these moments. It was just the two of them, working together, talking. Sure, he was already 8 years old, but he still missed his mom a lot. She would leave for work while he was still asleep, and return only to make dinner, do some chores, and go to bed. But he understood it all and didn't hold it against her. "Mom, if our dad passed away, shouldn't we get money for that?" Ethan asked suddenly. Ivy dropped the spoon she was holding. She quickly picked it up and turned to him. "Where did you hear something like that?" "I heard some old ladies in the yard talking about how Aunt Kate gets a lot of money for Sasha because their dad died. But they also said she spends it all on drinks." "You shouldn't be listening to those old gossips," Ivy said, a hint of frustration in her voice. Ethan lowered his head, and Ivy sighed. She sat down next to him. "Listen, sweetheart, your dad passed away without even knowing you were going to be born. We had a fight, and he left. I never got the chance to tell him." "That's sad. Then you wouldn't have to work so hard if he knew." Ivy smiled and hugged him tightly. "How about we go to the park this weekend?" "Really, Mom?" Ethan's face lit up. "Of course," she assured him. At first, Ethan was excited, but then he hesitated. "No, Mom, you won't have any time to rest then." "None of that. We'll just go for a little while, then we'll come home and relax." After dinner, Ethan went straight to his room. It was Tuesday. He drew 3 circles on a piece of paper, paused, then added a 4th one and crossed it out. The crossed out one would be for today. It somehow felt better that way. He was woken up by voices the next morning. The summer heat was intense, and his mom always opened the window in his room before leaving for work. The old ladies usually gathered later, so Ethan could sleep in. He glanced at the clock. He knew how to tell time well by now. For an 8-year-old, he was pretty sharp. It was only 10 o'clock. He didn't like waking up early. The time until 6 in the evening, when his mom would finish work, dragged on too slowly. "I saw Ivy today. She's looking thinner than ever. Working at that factory is no joke," another old woman chimed in. "It's not just the job. Try living on one salary. She's got a schoolboy and rent to pay. She has to hustle. And what a pretty girl she used to be." Ethan quietly slid off his bed and crept toward the window. He sat down on the floor, wrapped himself in his blanket, and listened. It's her own fault. She should have married a decent guy. But no, she chased after a rich one. Well, he fooled her, didn't he? Things seemed fine between them at first. "Oh, I don't know. I remember his mother came over once, yelling all kinds of things at her. After that, Ivy left, and when she came back, it was with Ethan." "That's right. She did leave for a while, so his mother must not have liked her." "And where is he now?" "Where?" "He's the director of the very factory Ivy works at." "What? And he doesn't even help them?" "Why would he? Maybe he doesn't even know she works there. Directors rarely bother themselves with who's making them money." Ethan sat on the floor, wide-eyed. How could this be? Had his mom been lying to him all this time? His dad was alive and doing well? That wasn't fair. It wasn't right. The old ladies kept talking, but the only thing Ethan really heard was the name Nicholas Andrews. The boy stood up with determination. He was a man, even if he was still small, so it was his job to help his mom with these problems. Maybe his mom didn't even know that his dad was the director, though that seemed unlikely. An hour later, he was ready. The factory wasn't far from home. He and the other boys often ran over there because the factory dump had all kinds of interesting things to find. Ethan left the house and headed in the direction of the factory. He would explain everything to Nicholas Andrews, and then everything would be fine with him and his mom. He positioned himself near the entrance to the administrative building and waited. He didn't expect things to go perfectly on the first try, but he got lucky. A sleek car pulled up in front of the building, and a young man stepped out, holding a folder and scanning through the papers inside. Ethan stepped in front of him. "Hello." The man stopped and looked at Ethan with interest. "Hi, are you waiting for me?" "Yes. I have an important matter to discuss with you. It's personal." The man smiled broadly. "Well, if it's important, let's go to my office." Ethan glanced at the door. "Can't it be discussed here?" "No, my friend. Important matters aren't settled like that. Or are you scared?" Ethan lifted his chin. I'm not afraid of anything. They entered the building and then the office. The man told the receptionist who greeted them, I'm not available for anyone right now. Nanny, I have an important meeting. She looked at Ethan with surprise, but said nothing. Have a seat. I'm listening. Ethan was flustered and didn't know how to start. After gathering his courage, he said, You're Nicholas Andrews. You're my father. But Mom doesn't know I'm here. I came on my own. The man's eyebrows shot up. Nicholas Andrews had seen many things in his life, but this was something new. Very interesting. Your mother doesn't know. Did she tell you that I'm your father? Someone might be trying to exploit a child for some gain. Not nice. But don't worry. I'll get to the bottom of this and handle it. No, my mom says that my father, that is you, died and didn't even know about my existence. Then where did you hear this? I overheard the old ladies in the courtyard talking. They said that you first visited my mom, then left, and then your mother came, argued with mine, and then my mom left. Just don't tell my mom I came. Nicholas looked at Ethan in surprise. The boy seemed around 7 or 8 years old. It couldn't be. No, it definitely couldn't be. Nicholas was sure that Ivy had cheated on him and then married, and left, or left and then married. It didn't matter. He knew for certain. Wait. How does he know this? His mother had said so, and Rachel confirmed it. And he had visited Ivy several times, but the apartment was locked, and a neighbor had said she had left and wouldn't return. What's your mother's name? Ivy. Nicholas felt a pang of discomfort. He took a sip of water from a bottle. Ivy. Why does she have her maiden name if she's married? And your name? Ethan Miller. Nicholas stood up. Okay, Ethan, you go home, and I'll figure out what to do. I'll make a decision, so I'm not saying goodbye. Ethan saw the man get nervous and quickly nodded. He hurried through the corridor and out onto the street. He wasn't sure at all that he had done the right thing. Nicholas picked up the phone. Mom, hi. Are you home? Oh, you're having tea with Rachel? That's very good. Tell my dear wife to wait for me at your place. I'll be there soon. He sped down the road, thinking. He had loved Ivy madly. He had never even considered that anything could separate them. It was true that his mother didn't like Ivy very much. She used to say that you don't get oranges from aspen trees. The fact was, Ivy's parents were, to put it mildly, alcoholics. How they managed to raise her was a mystery, but Nicholas had never met them. By the time they met, her parents were no longer alive. A drunkard's life isn't very long. His mother hadn't said anything openly, but he knew she dreamed of him marrying Rachel, the daughter of her friend. Rachel, by the way, was also in favor. And when Ivy left him, Rachel had skillfully comforted Nicholas. For the 7 years he had been married to Rachel, she had not had any children. She always said it was unnecessary, that she didn't want to spoil her figure, and that children, in her view, were nothing but problems. Nicholas never insisted. He was afraid that a child might turn out to be as demanding as Rachel herself. Nicholas had learned of Ivy's infidelity from his mother. She had even shown him some photos, and Rachel had patted him on the back, saying it was all just genetics. Mom, I want to know why you went to see Ivy before she left. Mrs. Parker clutched her chest and sank into an armchair, casting a telling glance at Rachel. Rachel rushed to her and began yelling at Nicholas. How dare you! Can't you see Mom is upset? Enough. I know very well that Mom always gets upset when she doesn't want to answer questions. And you, Rachel, will have to answer my questions as well. He left his mother's place an hour later with a pounding headache. Rachel was trailing behind him. Nicholas, what are you planning to do? I won't give you a divorce. And anyway, I agree. Let's have a baby. He turned sharply to face her. I don't need that. I already have a child. And he's quite grown up. He got into his car and drove out of the yard. Rachel stood watching him, still in shock. All day, Ethan thought about what he had done. He knew he had acted poorly towards his mother. He should have told her everything. But now it was too late to think about that. What if Nicholas Andrews was offended or angry? What if he fired Ivy? Ethan was so exhausted from all the worry that he fell asleep. Then he developed a fever. When Ivy came home from work, Ethan was already delirious from the high temperature. Ethan, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Mom, Dad, I told him everything. Ivy didn't listen to what her son was saying. She immediately called an ambulance. The doctor administered an injection and examined Ethan. There are no signs of anything serious. Your son might have been stressed. This happens to children. No, I don't know. He was alone at home while I was at work. So, you leave an 8-year-old child alone all day? What kind of mother are you? I'll have to report this. What if something happens? But I'm sorry, I need to work. That's your problem. Hire a nanny. I assume there's no father around? The doctor scribbled something quickly. Oh, there is a father, just temporarily away. Give me your paperwork, and don't try to make things worse for people. Ivy turned in amazement towards the door, where Nicholas Andrews was leaning against the frame. You? Where did you come from? Does it matter? Thanks, doctor. Our family doctor will take care of him now. The doctor, recognizing Nicholas Andrews, the owner of the only factory in town, quickly retreated. Nicholas looked thoughtfully at Ivy and then said, I understand that being a fool is a diagnosis, but maybe you'll give me another chance? Our son turned out to be smarter than both of us. We're adults, but we're foolish. Just answer me. Why didn't you tell me? Ivy shrugged. Your mother said you should marry a suitable match. Rachel, she even showed me the wedding dress you bought her. I see. Mom doesn't have much imagination. She told me the same thing. In the evening, Ethan felt better. Nicholas had only recently left. Ivy had talked with him for almost 3 hours. Mommy, I'm sorry. It was me who told Dad everything. Ivy wiped away her tears. Ethan, thank you. It's just a shame you didn't do it sooner. He hugged his mother. Is he angry? No, everything is fine, Ethan. Now we'll learn to live with Dad. That's how the story ends, friends. Join the conversation below and express your thoughts on this novel. If you found it captivating, share the link with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new story that will make your heart race. Your support inspires us to create more tales. All the best to you. Take care and see you next time.